Welcome everyone. This is the sequence intended to smooth out the transitions in your practice, working on your vinyasa flowing through. It's also going to work your shoulders, so expect to feel that in the shoulders. You're building up strength there. For this practice, all you'll need is your yoga mat. Enjoy. Okay, so we're going to start in child's pose today. So you're going to come to find yourself down on your mat. Take your time getting down there. Make sure you've got what you need to be comfortable. If you want to pop a blanket under the knees, absolutely do that. And we're going to find ourselves in child's pose, taking the knees as wide as you like. Give yourself plenty of space to breathe, space for the belly to move. And then you'll lower yourself down over your legs, coming down to find that lovely outstretched child's pose at first. So bringing the forehead to rest down on the mat, or if the forehead doesn't touch the mat easily, bring a cushion with you and just pop the forehead resting on a cushion. Just make sure that you're not compressing up the nose or restricting your breathing space at all. You're going to lower yourself down and come to find yourself in child's pose, noticing how the breath here moves the back of the body. So as you inhale, the back body is going to inflate, spreading out the rib cage, broadening across the shoulder blades. As you exhale, everything softens and closes, the belly melts down. Taking a couple of breaths here, just coming into the body, noticing how the body feels here on the mat today. Maybe one more breath here. We're going to come from this position to find our tabletop, so our all fours position. Bringing the hands out to shoulder width distance apart, you're going to ground the fingertips down to the mat and use the arms to draw yourself up and forwards, finding your way onto all fours on the mat. So just check in. Wrists are stacked perfectly underneath the shoulders. You stack the bones. Give yourself plenty of time to figure out your alignment here. So hands are grounded, fingertips are spread wide, and the knees are stacked perfectly underneath the hips, and the feet track back behind, parallel like train tracks. Feet point towards the back of the mat. Just check they've not gone off towards the corners. They want to be pointing straight back behind you. We're going to spend a minute thinking about our tabletop position. So you ground down in the fingertips, and you almost want to feel it's as if the palm comes up and off the mat. So you see how I relax my hand and then activate my fingertips, my palm sucks up and away from the floor. That's the sensation you want. Spider-Man hands gripping the mat. Roll some more weight into the space in between the thumb and the forefinger, into this fleshy part of the hand. You're pressing it down. You're using that push down into the floor to broaden slightly across the shoulders. And if you remember how to get your active shoulders from class, you'll take a bend in the elbows, draw the bend to the back of the mat, and then straighten out the arms, activating across the shoulder blades. Close off the rib cage, pull the belly up and in, find a neutral spine. Take the temptation to sag in the low back away by closing the rib cage off and bringing the back to spirit level straight. And then last thing to add on, press the toes down into the floor. As you press the toes down into the floor, the thighs will engage, the low belly will draw in, and you'll feel the legs and the low belly sort of zip up into the midline. From this position, with the fingertips active, the belly drawing up and in, the shoulder blades broad across the back, feeling active, and the toes pushing down. Tabletop is much less a position where you can hang out. You stay here a long enough time, you're going to find the arms start to shake. You're working strongly in your tabletop rather than just hanging out here. From here, using this strong foundation, we're going to find our cat-cow. Take an inhale to drop the belly down. You let the belly sink towards the floor, broaden the collarbones, lift the gaze. Exhale, push the floor away. Everything tucks in underneath. We're looking back at the knees, maybe looking at the belly button even. Inhale, around, roll through. Arching the spine, lifting the gaze, broad across the collarbones. Exhale, tuck the belly in and up. Pull everything up towards the ceiling, broaden across the collarbones. The space behind the heart tucks up towards the ceiling. Inhale, belly drops down. Wide across the chest, lifting the gaze, but trying to avoid creating wrinkles in the neck. Exhale, rounding through. Last time here, rounding through, look back at the knees. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine. So from here, we're going to move into our downward facing dog. So you're going to start by tucking the toes underneath you, creating little springs with the feet. Push the floor away strongly. Feel the shoulders active, and you're going to look for the space between the shoulder blades behind the heart, pressing up towards the ceiling. Feel that active lift in the chest. From here, press the floor away so firmly that you don't notice the knees come to hover just an inch off the mat. Take a big inhale breath here. Exhale, floating table. Take another big inhale here. Exhale, hips up and back. Find sweet relief in that downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out through the legs, taking a roll through the hips, whatever feels nice here. This is your opportunity to sort of have a bit of fun with it. Maybe a little freestyle in your downward facing dog. So taking whatever you need. And then when you find your place of stillness, you're going to come high on the tiptoes. Come high on the tiptoes. Raise the heels up off the floor. Big inhale here at the top. Exhale, send the hips up and back. Keep the heels lifted as you lengthen out the back body. And then from there, you could start to bring the heels closer to the floor. If there's any space available to you, if there's not, don't worry about it. From here, we're going to work into our plank rollout. So we're going to use that height from the tiptoes. You're going to come high on the tiptoes on an inhale. As you exhale, pull the belly up and in, arch the upper back, round forwards, and see if you can roll the spine out as you bring the weight into the wrists. Hip plank. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees, send the hips up and back. So good for strengthening the little rotator cuff muscles in the shoulder, this shape. We're going to take 3 more like that, stringing them together. Take a big inhale, come high on the tiptoes. Exhale, roll it through. All the way out, crown of the head reaches for the front of the mat, hip plank. Inhale here. Exhale, hips up and back. Big circle with the hips, almost imagining like the locomotion with the hips. Take a big inhale, come high on the tiptoes. Exhale, roll it out. Pull the belly in, broaden across the shoulder blades. Hip plank, inhale. Exhale, bend in the knees. Last one. You can stick with it here, or just catch us up in downward facing dog. Last one. I know you've got it. Inhale, come high on the tiptoes. Exhale, roll it out with control. Pull the belly in. Hip plank, inhale. Exhale, big bend in the knees, hips up and back, and you found your downward facing dog. Take whatever you need, maybe a pedal out, or maybe you're happy to hang out in stillness here. From this position, you're going to drop down to the knees, leave the knees where they are. So you should feel as though the knees are slightly further back than where they would be in tabletop, something like a half plank. From here, we're going to work down onto the floor in our Cobra. So we're going to get there with a couple of half plank press-ups. They're not as scary as they sound, don't worry. Tops of the feet are soft on the mat, and you push the tops of the feet down into the floor. Take an inhale, reach the crown of the head for the front of the room, look forwards. Exhale, micro bend in the elbows. Inhale, push the floor away. Exhale, bend the elbows. Keeping control. Inhale, last one. Exhale, bend the elbows. Hover at that halfway point, take an inhale breath. Exhale, keep it going. Chest all the way down to the floor. If this is not graceful, don't worry, that's the idea. The more you do this practice, the easier it's going to be to smooth out that transition in between. We're going to take 3 Cobra poses here. So down on the belly, you bring the heels and toes to touch, and the tops of the feet press down into the floor. Hands are underneath the shoulder blades, fingertips can spread wide, and the elbows hug in for the rib cage, facing towards the back of the mat. Feel the legs active, so you might be able to see the difference here. When I push the tops of the feet down into the floor, my kneecaps lift, the legs become active, a long, strong Cobra tail. Taking a big inhale, it's as if there's a tennis ball in front of you that you're going to roll away with the nose. Take your inhale, nudge the tennis ball away. Exhale, lower down, roll down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower down. Just a tiny bit of weight in the hands and the toes are active. You inhale to lengthen. Exhale to lower. Draw the hands together. Make a little pillow for the forehead. You're going to bring the forehead down onto the hands, separate the feet, and just give the hips a shake here. Let the back be soft. Let it relax after that. When you're ready, you're going to draw the hands underneath the shoulder blades. A little challenge for you here to find your plank pose. You can either press into the knees and press with the hands and come up to half plank, so that will look like this. Or, if you're feeling strong, tuck the toes underneath, you get the kneecaps lifted, legs are active, big inhale at the bottom. Exhaling, you'll come up in one line. All the way up to plank. And then from there, taking it back and finding your downward facing dog. A little pedal out through the legs, maybe hips are high. Biceps are sort of externally rotating, the shoulders are active, hands are active, gripping the mat, fingertips spread wide. We're going to move through our vinyasa here. You've got two options. You can either come to the knees, the same as we've just done for those transitions, or you can take your vinyasa through in plank. We're going to do it twice. So the first time I'll show you on the knees, and the second time I'll show you in plank if you want to challenge yourself. So, from here, inhale, come high on the tiptoes. Exhale, ripple it forward, roll the body out to plank. Hip plank. Inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees. Inhale at the top. Exhale, lower the chest and chin, elbows. Hug back in for the back of the mat. You're going to use the bum being high left behind you in the air as a counterbalance. So you snake the chest through, the hips come low, and the hands are immediately in the perfect position for Cobra. Activate your Cobra tail, activate the legs, take that big inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower it down. Push the floor away, press into the tops of the knees, find yourself back in half plank, tuck the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. One more time, either on your knees or moving through plank pose. We're going to smooth out the edges of this transition, so the edges of this vinyasa flow. Take a big inhale, heels rise high off the floor. Exhale, ripple it forwards and through, hip plank. This time I'll show you how to take the transition in plank if that's where you're headed, or you can stick with the knees, whichever variation works for you. From plank, big inhale here. Exhale, bend the elbows, hug them into the side waist, come low, so you can hover the chest just off the floor, and then from here, you're inhaling to snake through Cobra Pose. Exhale to lower it down. Tuck the toes underneath you, press the body in one straight line all the way up to plank. Exhale, hips up and back. Find your downward facing dog. A little pedal, one last bit of movement here. Find stillness, we'll take a big breath all together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. From here, you're going to drop the knees down to the floor. You're making your way back into the child's pose we started in. So, give yourself plenty of space to breathe with the belly. Take the arms out long. And you're just sinking down, finding the forehead back on the mat, letting everything be easy and soft. Breathing normally through the nose. And if child's pose isn't your bag, then feel free to take any other shape that feels relaxing to you here. You could lie on your back, bending up the knees, soles of the feet on the floor. Wherever you are, you're letting the breath slow down and come back to normal. Taking one last breath here in child's pose. And you're going to roll through the body. Find the hips heavy against the heels and dragging the hands up the mat as if you were kind of painting the mat. You'll roll through the spine to come all the way up to kneeling, finding yourself kneeling or in a cross-legged comfortable seat, whatever works for you. And from here, we're going to bring the chin down to the chest and just find one last quiet moment. Maybe bringing the hands to heart center if that's how you like to seal your practice. Taking one last breath here. Give yourself some credit for putting in the effort to come and show up on your mat today.
Thank you all so much for practicing with me. It's been lovely.